The Singer Sew Handy, a cute little toy machine that is still coveted by quilters and sewists alike all over the world. They are adorable little machines, a chain stitch machine. They were designed for a child, and you can tell by the size, they're really small. So the tinier the fingers, the easier they are to sew with, I promise you. I just want to share this machine with you before I send it back to its customer. I just finished restoring it. She went totally custom with its look and it is adorable. But let's jump in. I'll show you how to thread the machine. I'll show you its stitches and just talk about a few little things I learned along the way while restoring this one. Do you think that this is something you would sew with, or do you think it's something to put on the shelf because it's just so cute? Anyway, let's jump in and look at the Singer Model 20, the Sew Handy. So here we go. This is a chain stitch machine. A chain stitch, if you were not sure what that is the stitch you would see on, say, a feed bag or dog food or something like that. A bag that you want to be able to open easily. A chain stitch is made with just one thread. You have an upper thread that runs through the machine, and there's a lower looper on the machine that makes the stitch for you. This is what a chain stitch looks like. This is the back side, and the idea is that you can pull on the stitch, one of the threads, and I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll show you later, and the whole stitch will release because it's just one thread. Okay, so before we thread her up, let's talk about the needle that you need in this machine. This machine does not take a standard sewing machine needle. It takes one that's actually much smaller. So what I'm going to do is I have two needles. Here on the right is a standard needle, and on the left is the needle that goes in this machine. I'm lining up the tops here. Now look how much shorter the needle is on the left. This is a 24x1 needle. The good news is you can still buy these today, and I'll try to link a couple places where you can still find them, but you can buy new ones. So make sure you have the right needle first. Now the needle goes in the machine with the flat side of the needle pointing towards the neck of the machine, so pointing towards the right. I think this is one of my complaints about the Sew Handy. And I mean, if you were a child, maybe you wouldn't have this problem, but getting the needle in around this foot, which is kind of designed to protect your fingers from getting punched through, between working around this, which gives you very little clearance, and then in this tiny space here, you need a little tiny screwdriver to do it. You have to loosen this screw, slide the needle up in with the flat side to the right, and then tighten it down. That's a little bit fidgety, but we can do it. Now, for thread, you can fit a regular spool of thread onto the spool pin up here. You can also put a bobbin on, which is kind of nice. So you can wind the bobbin and then you have your thread for sewing, and that can just go on top. Now, on the machine, at least the later models, not so much the earlier ones, they numbered the thread path for you. So here we have 1, 2. On the top of the machine, we have a 3. Then on the tension, we have a 4. Then we have one more thread guide here that's numbered 5. And then the needle bar would have a 6 on it. And there is a 6 on this needle bar, but it's very, very faint now. It's worn and you can barely see it. And then the final place that the thread would go through is the eye of the needle, and it's threaded from left to right. So let's do that. And what I like to do is kind of line up these two right here and just put the thread through them both at the same time. And you may want some tweezers when you get to the needle, just so you know. So we're going to run it through these two. Now, this is a tensioner. And the way that it works is when we're turning the hand wheel, I want you to watch right here. When we turn the hand wheel, at one point, do you see how it just slightly bounces up? There's a mechanism inside that's coming up and hitting right here and pushing it up, and that's releasing tension on the thread so it can be pulled through as you sew. You also have the tension on the tension disc as well working for you. So let's get this thread here. And what we're going to do is we're going to run it. There's a tiny little gap right here. We're just going to poke it through there from top to bottom. And the way that these go is just straight through, back to front, just in case you're wondering. But I'm just going to run that little thread down through that hole. Can't you see how tiny little child hands would just fly at this? So once we do that, we kind of just pull it forward so it's under this spring here. And then you just really have to just lay it across the tension disc. Just make sure you get it between the two little tension discs on top. Then we're going to take our thread and we're going to run it through this little eye right here. And try not to tangle anything up. And then you can raise up your needle. And there's a hole in the top of the needle. We're going to put it through that hole. Oops. And down like that. Now the last place it goes is through the eye of the needle from left to right. And this is the tricky part. So I like having a really fine pair of tweezers handy. And I'm just gonna turn it, and I am wearing my readers so I can see. But to me, this is the hardest part, and it might help if you lick the end of your thread or if you have some beeswax or something. But I'm just getting, and as soon as I see that I've got that, I'm gonna grab it with the tweezers. Now it's threaded. And because we just have this upper thread that works with our lower looper to make the chain stitch, that's it, that's all we need. I pull it down, pull the thread down between the gaps and just kind of off to the side like that. Now, this is the stitch that we're going to make. This is the top, and this is the bottom of the chain stitch. If you sew with this machine like I'm going to show you, you won't really need to tie off your stitch, which was my bigger concern. When working with the chain stitch machine, the whole idea is you should be able to grab a thread and pull on it and the whole stitch will come undone. And you would grab the end that was at the end of the point where you stopped sewing, not the end where you began sewing. You won't be able to pull it out that way. So I have some fabric. I'm gonna try to do this around the camera, which is a little bit hard. I don't wanna bump it, but I just have some quilting cotton, and you can see all the holes in this. I've been making little stitches and then pulling them out. But once you have it threaded, you can just put your fabric under your presser foot. This is how you raise and lower it right here. And I'm just gonna kind of hold everything in place, and I'm going to turn the hand wheel away from me to make my chain stitch. Now, when I'm done, I'm going to stop at the highest position, the needle bar at the highest position, and I'm just going to peek at this stitch to see if it's doing what it's supposed to. Looks good. Okay, so you're going to take your thread and you're going to pull yourself some slack and give yourself more than you think you would need. Like, I like to pull it out about this far. When the needle is up still and the foot is down, take something small. I'm going to use these tweezers, and we're just going to grab the thread and pull it like this. All right, this is how you're getting your tail and you're not unthreading your needle. So you have something to start again when you want to make your next stitch. Just cut it. So now it's totally unattached. It's not connected to our project anymore. We can raise up our presser foot and just pull away. And here you go. Here's your cute little chain stitch. Now, when you do it that way, and I don't know how well you can see that. This is a pretty light colored thread. When you do it the way I just showed you, that actually locks in your stitch. It makes it hard. You can't just pull it out because it's pulled that thread to the bottom and it's locked. If you wanted to remove this, you would just need to pull it up So it's coming through from the top only again. So I'm just grabbing that end there. There we go. Almost got it. Okay. Once you get it up on the top side, look at that. It totally comes out. There's the thread right there. And the stitch is gone. So anyway, let's take a look at how that looper looks, and then I will tell you the one little fussy thing I ran into when I was putting this machine back together. And just, you know, I hand painted all these flowers for my customer. I like getting a project like this every once in a while. Gets the artsy side of my blood flowing a little bit. So anyway, let's look at how it looks when it's sewing. I'm going to get a tiny strip of fabric and we'll look down here and watch the looper go. So I'm just going to put my fabric in, pull this tail this way, and I will try to keep my hands out of the way. Whoops. I've just got a mess going on here. Okay, so I'm holding it still and you should be able to watch that looper in action. Can you see it? Really an incredible design that is still used today. You can see this on clothing that you buy in the store, feed bags, dog food bags. The chain stitch is still in use today. So I'd be curious to know, if you had one of these machines, how would you use it? What would you use it for? Or would you just set it on a shelf and look at it when you needed something to cheer you up a little bit? So I'm just going to, I've got my needle in the highest position, pulling my thread, getting in this area, giving myself a tail and a snip. I can raise the foot now and pull it away. Here's my stitch. Pretty nifty, don't you think? Okay, so the issue I had when I was restoring this machine was when we turn the hand wheel, we have a shaft that runs through the bottom, and you can't really see it in this model because it's covered up, but it goes from right here. There's a little gear that works inside the hand wheel. Do you see the hand wheel has teeth? Okay. Down here is a little gear on the end of a shaft. It runs all the way through, and then you attach this little bearing here on the looper, and then you put the looper on. First thing you need to do is to make sure that the screw on the bearing is lined up. So let's see if I can show you. Do you see here the hook point of the looper? It needs to be lined up with the screw, and it's just like not looking to see now. It's not really dead center over the screw, but it's fairly close. That part was simple, but you also have just a smidge of in play here. The tiniest bit. If it's too tight, you won't be able to turn the hand wheel at all. It'll bind. But if it's too loose, it's going to bounce around and you're not going to have even stitches. You're going to have problems. So getting that perfect amount of play was something that I just had to fiddle with over and over. And when I was doing that, I was loosening this screw here. And I don't know, would you call this a bearing or a cam? I kind of feel like I would want to call it a cam. But when I would loosen this, then everything would shift. So I would have to realign the hook point to the right orientation as far as where it is in reference to the screw down here, and then hopefully have enough play in the end. And it took me probably 5 or 6 times before I got it right and I got it stitching properly. So usually if you're just picking up one of these machines and cleaning it off and sewing with it, that setting's probably never been changed. So you probably are going to be fine. But if you took it apart completely for painting like I did, then putting it back together, that took a lot longer than I thought it would, frankly. So anyway, just thought I would share that because that was my frustration with this little machine. So what do you think of this little cutie? Is it something that you would use? I can see the potential here as far as if you wanted to temporarily put together a garment that you wanted to check the fit or something. It is an easy stitch to remove. It's fairly fast. So I can see that. I don't think it's very nice to sew with if you don't have the clamp. Personally, you're using one hand to turn the hand wheel. You really need the other hand free to guide the fabric. And if you're trying to hold the machine still and turn the hand wheel, it's not going to work very well. So I just wanted to show you. I think it's cute. Let me know if you'd like to see more about this machine. I have a couple that I plan on restoring when I have time. This would be a really short project for sure, especially if it's not getting painted. But that's it. There's a lot of history here in these machines that I don't even know. The length of time that Singer manufactured them and all of that, the changes, it's just a lot to learn. But you can share down below what you know. If you like this video, guys, give it a thumbs up and let me know. Thank you so much. I will see you again really soon. Bye.